of EMEA.
Yeah, the fact is, FNATIC were also once the dominant team of the EMEA, but since then we've seen two different EMEA teams win events and make it to grand finals. So, and this is one of them. Like Mech, obviously, it's literally in the name. They were the Masters 3 champions, so they're definitely not out of this series. The fact is, we've seen them lose maps in close fashion before. They are one of the best at coming back and one of the best at bind.
Yeah, you know, looking back at the history, you think about the semifinals of Challengers Playoffs Stage 2, May 1st last year, and it was these two teams against each other.
Oh, damn.
Jeez, FNATIC. Picking up the pace on this. They're already out on the B site. SHEDULES in there with two. And, all right, Redgar's gone swinging out wide, maybe scared of some utility coming his way. Instead, he has gone down for nothing. We're into a 3 versus 3 as FNATIC reset and look to push into the late stage of this round. Just real quick, what I was going to say, FNATIC, you know, they played up against the old, what was Gambit at the time, the Masters 3 champions we have here, with a very similar roster. And, you know, this was the comp they were running at the time. That game decided who went to Iceland, and we're in the same boat here.
Let's see. They've tried to bait the rotation, Mitch. It hasn't worked. They basically ran all the way back. They pulled off one, but SHEDULES is still waiting. Already gets himself a third, a fourth kill in this round, and looks to try and ace it in the pistol. It's left on to Mystic. He might just want to try and deny getting that ace for SHEDULES, but he won't be able to. What a start for this man. He has had a fantastic couple of days individually, and, well, another ace to add to his collection when it comes to this map.
Yeah, gorgeous start, really. Getting off to a start like that in the pistol on your Sage, you're gonna have that res online coming into your bonus round more than likely. I mean, it is huge for them. And for FNATIC, pistol round loss in the start. Look, they try to up the pace in towards the B site, but they just met the stone wall of SHEDULES in this round. Now they're gonna look to take an eco and probably just blitz into a site, make this as costly as possible. But on a map like Bind, it's not too often you see these classic rounds on the attack work out in favor of that attacking side.
You can see already Defo. He's wanting to try and farm up as many kills as humanly possible. Spike already dropped to the floor, and he's got a nade to try and catch out Mystic in that corner, who will just about survive. Of course, for FNATIC, the main thing in this round is making things costly. Like, Mech have not gone for the same level of rifles. Obviously, Bind has much more when it comes to those close-range battles. Like, we even see a Judge as a regular weapon on this map, so one player loss, still going to keep the majority of their weaponry, in fact, even picking up the Bulldog. And now FNATIC will actually come in with a buy.
I actually like that setup in towards Bat. Originally, you know, not dropping the wall seemed like a big risk. Indeed, Redgar pushing up close, but I guess they were just trying to figure out whether there was anyone there or not, right? They didn't know. Once they spotted there's a bunch of players, you have that fight that kicks off, Defo falls back and nades it. And that's important because, like, okay, look, he's able to get the kill to start with, but you notice he's got 100 HP when he's in that fight. That nade was just to delay them and let him be healed back up. And in a round like this, maybe that stopped them from losing an extra rifle. Maybe it stopped them from losing those two players in Bath, giving weapons over and things snowballing. It's those tiny little decisions that are just, they're smart calls, right? I really appreciate seeing them in a round like that, because you just don't want to give your opponents of classics. They have very low chances of getting anything done. Why would you help them, you know? And too many teams do.
Chronicle looking to get a little bit spicy in the early stages of the round again. Going to see this wall trying to almost force them into that close range battle. SHEDULES still managing to survive around it, and well, Magnum's hoping he can try and get an elevated angle, but at least for now that's not going to be the case as FNATIC grind to a halt.
Pumping the brakes. You don't want to run into those weaker weapons and crossfires and really head first into a meat grinder in a lot of these rounds if you do blitz in. But with FNATIC having no control elsewhere, you know, at this point, there could easily have been a push coming up through a mid. They've got to go forward eventually, and it's through this choke point. Again, it's SHEDULES to stop them. He'll only get the one, and the trades come in quickly. FNATIC at least getting towards that site. They pulled it into a 3v2, but they really don't want to lose any more weapons at this point. They are up against such a weak buy from M3C. And with Magnum quite low on HP, I was getting worried with that frenzy coming around the corner. Although at this stage, they should really expect another player to be towards the spawn. They'll safely get a plant, and this round should be recovered.
10 seconds left.
And Redgar's waited, at least still have his flash online, but, well, he's basically just going to have to run through utility to try and get anything done. However, for Nats, there's an opportunity to at least do some damage. You could see Magnum already falling back into a slightly more passive position, and with a remaining couple of players out towards long, like a victory here for Nat seems impossible. And you can even see they've got contact and then a swing. Like, for him to isolate both of these duels is nigh on impossible, and Boast is going to be ready and waiting. FNATIC are on the board, and sure, it's a couple of players lost, but keeping those 3 rifles on the board is the most important thing.
Yeah, I think risks taken. You know, you said Magnum was falling back passively, and then he took a 90-degree turn, right? He walks down an elbow and sits tight there. Now, for where the player was, it was passive, but he could very easily have been challenged if that point with Nats and Defo over here. You have Viper slowing you down on A and Sage on B. It's very difficult to take aggressive control. And what did we notice in the last round? FNATIC ended up stuck outside B long with no control on A, no idea if these guys had pushed up. They had to just run into the site. This time, playing a default is sort of what I had hoped to see out of this early round from FNATIC, because this avoids those problems, right? They can still try to bait out some of that util early, like the wall that's being used in towards bathroom, and they're not left essentially stalling with one piece of map control, like 4 players on long waiting behind a wall for the blitz to come out. I like this, but the problem is Mech haven't gone aggressive, and they haven't given them any opportunities for that default to pick a player off. They're not even playing inside hookah.
No, they went for some initial long control, maybe fighting for the orb there, maybe expecting the same thing I did, with at least trying to gain something from this. And they're also using that same deep screen in towards the showers to almost just shield any information if anyone's gone in that direction. The problem now, though, for FNATIC is that time is starting to tick, and they haven't managed to really garner much map control. Sure, they've got hookah, but there are 3 players currently waiting for them on B if they're going to head in on this direction.
Yeah, at least they're not running into the Viper or the Sage this time. The slowing ability definitely a lot lower on this side of the map, but there's more players here for Mech. That dash on his sight, Durka went undetected even still. They had no idea this guy was here. Oh, an enigma that completely opens up the round. Now they've got the plant for sure, even with that low time. And the blitz strategy finally needs some success. SHEDULES. Oh, this is dangerous. Res, but no wall. He's going to bait it. Use that body to fight out in the open, and it won't get them anything. The punishment there immediately. FNATIC now know where SHEDULES is, and they've got the 2v1. The plant, not ideal. This isn't really something that you can stop if SHEDULES goes for the defuse, but he's unlikely to stick it, right? At least that's what FNATIC are hoping. They better up the pace. He's already got it halfway. Here comes the swing, but the shots are not there to match. 2-2 we go. And a solid attack, I have to say. They play the default. It doesn't work early. They don't get any info. And Tom, I was thinking when they're going for that push, it's like, oh, 30 seconds on the clock. They're in the exact same position that they were in those other rounds. They have the same problems, but not the same outcome.
Yeah, I think firstly the drone, like if it even goes just a second earlier, Defo's still in that corner, I don't think they win the round. But I think, again, it's something you highlighted, just that Durka's ability to get into positions that even we're kind of looking at and going, I don't know how you got there without anybody spotting you. And then once they get into the after plants, we already know how dangerous this team can be, even from just watching the way that they played the previous map of Fracture. Again, though, now the ultimates are even higher up for FNATIC. So I'm actually starting to get a little bit worried for Mech, because their buy is not going to be a particularly good one. Sure, they can opt to try and maybe use the Seekers to get some information and gamble, but I wouldn't really like to see it in a round like this. And on the other side, you basically have some of the most powerful afterplan ultimates you could ever need, which FNATIC kind of don't need, because they also have an incredible afterplan without them.
You know, if this was Team A versus Team B, right? Not teams that we were intimately familiar with. Maybe we'd signed on to do some LATAM coverage, or maybe we were doing NA. Actually, we've got a Brim and a Sage. This isn't NA. One thing that's interesting in the context of just playing gameplay is that I would favor FNATIC easily coming into the next round, because they've got those ults and so on. But
I know where this is going.
You know, Gambit have got a few, sorry, M3C have got a few pistols. Now, they've been all right with a few pistols in the past. I do start to get a little bit worried, to be honest.
I am very sad that the stim is on B, unless they're about to all go through the TP and he's going to throw the stim down and they're just going to rush through together. But by the looks of it, they're leading up to just go for some sort of really aggressive mid-take. And yeah, I wish Brimmy with the stimmy was there with them.
Well, he's going to use it on mid, I think, with the Spectre that he's running, so Gives him a decent fight. Those pistols, though, are not going to be able to crunch in quite the way they hoped. Maybe they are. Oh, you're in trouble, Boaster. Trailblazer, I mean, if you have a player behind you, maybe, but...
I guess he didn't expect that many people.
I think he could hear them, though, running around. That was a big misread. Either way.
Oh, Chronicle left alone. Again, he's got all his utility, but most of that's just going to be saved for the next round. Of course, any kills he can get, I guess, reinvest that for him. Drone just flying above, just having an aerial view of the scenario. Just spotting out the scenery, and Durka, well, put a bullet in his brain. FNATIC, few rounds now where we haven't seen that much of a response for Mech, and well, I guess this would be it. Again, they've got some pretty powerful ults of their own coming up into this next one for rifles, but FNATIC have all 5, which I feel like is a rarity nowadays.
Yeah, actually a team that we only just noticed a moment ago, or a map ago, that they were really good at cycling their utility, cycling their ultimate economy, but I think that in this round, maybe you would have put 1 or 2 into it to secure it cleanly, had things not have gone so messy at the start. It does give them a hell of a lot to work with here, as you're saying. Boaster's going to be spotting out a few right away on long. That's interesting, actually. You're going to have a Hunter's Fury catching them as they fall back, and then the showstopper. I've even put in the orbital strike. Oh my god.
He's got Spike.
Well, that shouldn't have happened.
There's no way he wins this. Thank God. Completely surrounded. Yeah, I guess that's how you win a round, just using your ultimates. You force players into a corner using a Hunter's Fury, then you orbital strike close just in case they've dodged it that way, and then they're running like, yeah, we managed to avoid it, and then you get hit by a showstopper coming out of hookah. It's that was like herding sheep. That's basically what FNATIC just did.
Oh, it's so disgusting, man. Where are you gonna go? You gonna try run elbow? Yeah, go through that orbital strike. You gonna go long? No. No, you're not. You're gonna get orbital striked and shot on your way. Oh, okay, well, we'll hide under hookah. No, there's a rocket coming for you. There was nowhere that was safe. My god. And you know, this is an interesting thing, because FNATIC, they trade their ult economy, which was massively in their favor. And only 3 ults, you know? 3 ults is a lot, but when you've still got a Viper's Pit and Seekers, that's kind of fine in resetting your ult economy.
And, yeah, you destroyed their buy as well. Yeah.
Just wrecked them, just taking all their money. Unbelievable.
Well, now we go back to those deadly pistol rounds, although thus far we've not had those same sort of heroes. I guess they've not really been given that much of an opportunity. I feel like FNATIC have been such a strong unit that even if there has been a slip-up or somebody being caught out, the trade's been almost instant. And you can see that they're taking these sort of rounds very seriously. You know, use the Seekers, spot out any of those aggressive positions. Nats has just been killed by Durka, and also with 3 players getting an assist, so I feel like he's just been absolutely owned. And the remaining players looking to try and come in on the flank. Maybe they can catch Magnum. He's got too many angles to watch, but still going to get away with it. And then Mystic's there to help.
Yeah, nicely done. And they'll get away with it flawlessly in the end. A few players on low HP, so you're going to be very happy with that result. You know, this could have been a more economically costly round for the attackers. And instead, look at their money. They've got, I think, 3 players maxed out on economy, and they don't need to reinvest into this round. Maybe shields and a little bit here and there, but yeah, this is starting to look very, very good. This gives FNATIC a very strong safety net that even if they lose 1, maybe 2 rounds, they can comfortably buy up, and then their ultimates would start to come online as well. I mean, these guys are set up for their attack side. Mech need to make a stop, I mean, here and now. There's no more room for error.
Yeah, they're just trying to spam as much utility. You can just see the instant change of pace for FNATIC. Defo trying to find something with his showstopper, gets absolutely nothing for it. A spam, though, will at least catch out Durka, but there's already the Viper's Pit down for FNATIC.
Orbital strike, gonna catch Magnum going back. They'll spray as well, and nothing connects on him. Just a bullet or two, a scratch, but it's enough for him to stay around and get back into that Viper's Pit. Still no plan to be secured, but they know that the pit itself is safe. I'm watching for the crossover on it.
Yeah, Their main worry right now is that any player peeking out from lamps could do some serious damage to them crossing over to the side. So just trying their best to make sure that there's at least a little bit of comfort there. They've also got to be careful just from spams. Like, where are you actually going to plant this spike? You can't really go for default just in case, but actually, I was about to say, no one was spamming. I was like, hey, are you just going to let him get it for free? But no, they're just waiting for the right moment.
It does feel like a big missed opportunity there by Mech when they use the Seekers and they start to hunt down those players. You've got a Viper able to get out of the site. The orbital strike doesn't catch them, but no one runs up to take the space afterwards either. You know, we have this constant spray going down, but lack of information for Mech leaves them with a pretty passive play on B. Good to at least get one, but SHEDULES cannot commit any further towards this. If Boaster went down there, I think the round was over. I think jumping up on top was ludicrous, but yeah, it looks like it might be over anyways. 1v4 to win out, and well, that's just going to be too much to ask from the IGL. At least a round on the board for Mech, and they've done it flawlessly as well. Going to help out their economy problems.
Yeah, I think this round almost came down to just FNATIC overplaying it a little bit. Like, they were tapping the spike, almost just trying to bait that rotation, like hoping that somebody would come through. The initial spam definitely helped just to give that advantage, but I like the fact that Mech didn't really overcommit to anything. They knew they had the players around over on that A site ready for if anybody attempted to plant. They consistently denied the player from doing so. And then SHEDULES has just been a rock for this team. So pretty much since its inception, he's been a rock for this team. But now, even starting to throw in the operator a little bit, he had the watch, and then they had another smoke going down just to make sure that it was really tough for FNATIC to get into the site. Just very well played from Mech.
Yeah, nicely handled. Mech get the round on the board. So plenty more to go for them, and they're going to double down on this one with a Viper's Pit used early into Bathroom. Going to give them control of that extremity of the map. And it means I don't typically expect to see them fighting for B long when they've done that, but not only have they walled it off, they're playing on top of it with an operator. That's huge control for Mech. I mean, obviously they're leaving open the likes of Hookah, but in fact, FNATIC are not going towards it. They're running again towards this A site.
Yeah, both extremities are currently locked. They've done exactly the same thing with the Viper's Pit, so this has to be an almost direct brawl coming out, which is something that most of the time Mech are going to be quite happy with. Redguard is actually just going to go running into the smoke, already manages to find one. What is with these right-click classic kills currently coming out for FNATIC? It will be the trade back for Nats, and Mystic again puts it into a 2v2.
At least the one kill for him, and they'll try to get a little bit more. Goes in on that site, get the plant. Nothing that Mech can do to deny it.
Spike planted.
The Recon is not going to spot Chronicle out, and he even gets away with the kill. Mystic calling down the orbital strike on himself, essentially. But he won't catch the player. Chronicle has still made it out, and now they'll group up and try to at least take him down together, trade out. That's all they need to do. The smokes are in play. This is really tough. They know where he is after that spray, too. Waiting for him to emerge from that smoke. The defuse is already through. Fully done and locked in for Mech. It is 5-4. Even have the option to take that operator through to the next round. Nice and comfy. I mean, as far as defensive side rounds go, getting those last two back-to-back, they've looked confident. They've looked comfortable. I think this is Mech right back in the saddle, and I'm a lot less worried than I was just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how many rounds they get this same sort of extremities control, though. Like, it's not many rounds you have a Viper's Pit and a wall with an operator on top of it, and neither are fought at all. So this was almost FNATIC again trying to just blitz their way through mid, and it came down to some scrappy fights, which, okay, for the attacking side, it's not the worst case in the world. Now, though, they will go back to fighting some of the other spots on the map, and actually, again, Mech have a very good read on this scenario. Look how deep SHEDULES is on the other side. He's currently peeking so far forward.
Oh no, Defo! Oh, he's in so much trouble. That could have been huge. FNATIC have gotten out of there smelling of roses. 3v3 to play with. Site clear. And they're on it with the spike as we speak. Even getting the info on the elbow players too up close. I mean, this is perfect for FNATIC. They've got a decision now. You know, where do they want to take the post-plant to? In fact, they're playing all three angles really spread out, and that might catch SHEDULES off guard. No, he's watching it. This guy actually scopes in and checks it. Brave has got to be so pissed.
And now someone needs to try and make a play. Boaster's going to be the one to do it, and it's left all onto Magnum. Oh, it's a little bit awkward. I think not knowing where to look, where to turn at that stage, and again, Mech just controlled in a lot of their retake scenarios. I do respect the fact that both players just like watch Durka go through and it's like, nope, Durka's the distraction, keep your eyes on the prize, and actually trade relatively well in that scenario. I was also quite surprised myself that he just got through that barely 10 matches. It's not going to get easier. Like our next game, we know that we've got the likes of Liquid and FPX, and sure, I think most people, in fact almost everyone, put these as the top two and then there's a third spot, but I think you always have to remember that the peaks of teams like Liquid, like FPX, are incredibly high, and they're going to be throwing everything they can to knock out whoever it is that falls down.
Hey, you put everything you've got on the table here and now, and then that... Oh, this is a fast play. I saw Magnum was on top of the boxes, and I thought surely I wasn't reading that correctly, but no, they are looking to get aggressive, looking to push on up, and they better. SHEDULES has already taken the opening pick. Oh, this is nasty. They're not quite going to be able to follow up on the kills. They're isolated now in this position with the operator staring at the cross, going out for a little bit more, and SHEDULES just doesn't miss. He has been flawless in this round, shot after shot, leaving them with nothing to play with on the FNATIC side. I mean, these guys, I said they were backed into a corner. Their economy was really being pushed to the limit coming into this round, and Mech have made it look easy, even when FNATIC have everything to work with.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the Ascend players sort of like baiting on Twitter. I didn't realize that CNED had just decided to play on SHEDULES' account today, because it seems like he's just gone into that Sage operator role like it was something he had in his back pocket the whole time, and it just decided not to tell anyone. Like, oh yeah, don't worry guys, I can actually play the op incredibly well. And they're like, oh yeah, and then he does it, and it's just so impactful. Like, that has been one of the major changes, and it's also just the level of risk they can take elsewhere. Like, think of the positions that he's been playing in. Like, he's been locking down bathrooms, he's been locking down B long, he's been even holding at the back of the site on B and just making sure they can't quick rotate. Like, this allows the rest of the players to take risks because they know a certain portion of the map is completely isolated by SHEDULES, and well, I would say at this point they're probably trying their best to avoid him because he's been dominating.
Yeah, it's a problem that in the early rounds, this guy was so strong. Remember the pistol round ace even. Yeah. But it's not his duels that even impressed me the most. It's his positioning, first of all, but also his utility. I mentioned in the first couple of rounds, he was such a big problem for them on that B site with the wall, with the slows. FNATIC weren't able to make the explosive attack that they wanted to. And then he comes in the late game and starts showing up like that with the operator as well. It seems like SHEDULES is ticking all the boxes for Mech, and now they're guaranteed a 6-6 half. Let's fight for that 7, though, on this defensive side. Defo loses a lot of health getting that orb, but Tom, it might be worthwhile because he's now got the showstopper online. Not only that, but SHEDULES, unsurprisingly, still has res. It's been on for quite a bit. And so Mech have a bunch of early round potential.
I think that's the only critique you can give of SHEDULES, is he is never in a position to use his res because he's playing some of the most audacious angles you're ever going to see a Sage play. He's currently, this again, solo holding in towards the showers, but it's something that FNATIC have cleared. They're looking for this information, but he's still just sat on top of the wall, and why not? He's going for more aggressive angles at this point because he's been winning every single battle. Now, information, I think, has just been garnered as well by Redgar. Using his Tiger, I think he at least spotted somebody on the other side. And so FNATIC's surprise, or what they may think is a surprise, really isn't as strong as it is. Look at the 3 players currently waiting for them on B.
That's the thing. And we've seen it a couple of times when you run into this stack on the B site. Mech are more than capable of dealing with this. Defo has been deleted, though. Here's the showstopper connecting on Redgar. Defo, or Dirk, excuse me, will eventually go down, but come on, Chronicle doesn't get much more than that. 2 kills. Is it enough, though? Well, we'll see what SHEDULES can do. That res still online. Good kill. And he'll look to get a teammate back up here, maybe.
Look at the time.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. They have to try and push him. Flash into the corner. SHEDULES lands the shot again. And now it's left into the 1 versus 1. He still has that res. But at this point, it has to be the kill. They need to go for the push. And SHEDULES is going to clutch it out. This man is in unbelievable form right now.
Switching sides.
How does he get away with that? How? 15-5 closing out that half. We've had an ace from him. Countless 3Ks, but the impact of this one is going to be felt coming into the next half. That's for sure. Mech
10 seconds.
They've got a guardian angel in this game, and he goes by Shados. Unbelievable. Even tries the rest at the end. Realizes there's no one. He's okay, I'll do it myself.
I don't need friends. But look at him, 15 and 5, acing the pistol round, winning clutches left and right, and using the operator as well. I think you've just spotted a complete player, and that's the thing. Like, Redgar, a long time ago, highlighted him as the best member of the team. We all laughed because his teammates are Chronicle and Nats, but you know what? He's showing it today.
That's funny. Like, they'll say Redgar, we'll say Chronicle, and Nats. I'm always with Defo since day one at Gambit. Still waiting for the day this man reaches his simple form. Honestly, it's gonna happen. But yeah, you can literally make an argument for everyone on this team being the being the MVP, being the one to beat. There's a reason that they are the M3Cs. 1 minute on the clock as the attackers look to move to the A site. Spike is there. They're going to be grouped up. And what are they running into? You got Durka still with a bit of utility to play with. I guess it's his surprise factor if Brave is able to distract a couple of them coming out of bath. No, he's going to just step forward. Magnum wants to try to catch a few of them off, and there's at least Chronicle and a bit of damage followed up on. This isn't terrible. And the shock dart now becomes so much more dangerous. It's close. It's got damage, but no kill.
Oh. So close to getting something. The thing is, this is where Mech play their best work. Holding on in these sort of afterplant scenarios, it can be so difficult. Already a tap onto the spike. Shados is going to go through it, and still again, just battling and brawling, hiding in that back corner. Another comes up for Nats, and he's just going to wipe him clean. It's left all onto Brave, hoping to try and get something, and it's not quite enough. Damages Nats to low HP, but it will be an 8th round on the board for Mech.
Whether it's the Viper wall to get them to site, the Sage wall that gets them a plant and even offers a safe post-plant position behind the boxes that can't be spammed because you've got that big chunk of ice between you. I mean, the utility setups here were fantastic, and then you follow up right here. The player inside the smoke of Nats, he is working his way in and out of that with his teammate, not overcommitting, not swinging wide, not running to short. He's peeking the smoke, he sees a flash, goes back in, peeks out after, takes a few shots onto the enemy, fades back into the smoke. These guys are like trying to kill the player on their left. They get shot from the right. They turn to look at the guy on the right. He's back in the smoke. Guy on the left shooting them again. They turn to him, get shot from the right, because that guy, guess what? He's ran back through the smoke. It's like, it was just constant bait and switches coming out, and with the pistols, it worked perfectly. FNATIC that crushed in that round, and now, well, they're playing a round where Magnum's got a shorty. I think that should tell you everything you need to know. This should be convincing. 9-5.
Yeah. One of the things I also just want to note while we have this almost breather, I feel like on this map in particular, if Lamp's control goes the way of Mech, they normally win the round. Like, they're just so good at playing from that position, especially Nats. Like, we call him a rat for a reason. I feel like this is one of the maps where he's always done it best with his lurks through there and also managing to just play further into the site. Now, right now, the read currently in from FNATIC is incredible. The problem that I have is the amount of space that Redgar has taken. Like, he has pretty much all the information, so they could probably just go back through the TP. Instead, they're going to go facing it to the site, and that's already a rifle up here.
Pretty huge start. Mystic. Oh, he doesn't really want to be re-peeking that now. In a round like this, sometimes you take those risks, sure, but the way things have panned out, you're going to wait around, be more patient. In fact, FNATIC's going to rotate without even picking up some of those weapons. Not wanting to run down mid and give the kill away, but looks like the same thing might happen here. Ooh, Redgar really taking some risks, wanting to set Shados up inside of the tunnel, side of elbow. They're going back out themselves. Great flash, but nothing to come from. Nicely closed out in the end.
He's almost got his res again.
Mm-hmm. I got a few ultis that are, you know, decently far away. FNATIC are, what, 3 or 4 charges away from everything. So again, that res being on so early is
it's just him. Like, everyone else is 3 or more away, and then Shados is just like, hey guys, got my res again. Like, it's also one of those that, like, especially on the attacking side, much more of a chance of him being able to use it. On the defense, he was basically playing the extremities alone, so there was no chance, and he didn't need it. So yeah. I guess that's the other factor.
You see that priority as well when Mech go to plans. I think a lot of the time that spike is going to Shados on this attack because something they're very much focused around. I think he only has 4 orbs from combat this half because he was 15-5, right? Now he's 18-6. So he's got 1 death, he's got his 3 kills, and the rest is just from getting orbs and getting plants. What you want to see?
Building in towards this A site take. Again, you've got the sort of regression coming out from Durka and Magnum. He knows that the plan on the other side is likely to just go for this Sage wall, get an after plant. So he's trying to at least reduce the opportunity of them being able to do that. And SHEDULES is going to take some damage on his way out, but he'll survive.
Yeah, you know, the interesting thing, SHEDULES is not only healing himself, but he's getting the heal from Redgar a lot of the time. Remember, Sage's heal gets interrupted if she takes damage, whereas Redgar can just keep on healing him even as he's in that snake bite, and that's what we saw there. As he's running out of the snake bite, he was consistently at 70 HP, being kept alive by Redgar. They're gonna tap this here. Molly's coming over, but they've got it halfway. That's great for FNATIC. They can be comfortable taking their foot off the pedal a little bit here. Durka, well, he's never comfortable doing that. It starts to become a problem now. They know it's halfway. Mech are gonna rush out to try and stop this, but they can't get there in time. FNATIC have just snuffed the defuse under their nose. They had the cover there. 2 players swinging in from middle. Easy to deal with when you've got that many players to the good for FNATIC. And that's a round that they desperately needed too.
Yeah, the problem is, even though there were some weapons in that round for the opposition, Mech can still buy into this one comfortably, and you're starting to see the crack show on FNATIC's side. Like, okay, a judge on this map is not that much of a crack. In fact, it's more of an irritation than a rifle at times, but still, you know that those ultimates are building up on both sides. You know that Mech are much closer to that victory, and they knew as well they could have just saved those extra guns, but doing the damage onto FNATIC's economy is so much more valuable because a round loss here and they're in trouble.
The Trailblazer waits a moment, spots out that long is clear. Mystic! Oh god, he's got one already, but he'll be dealt with at least. Not sticking around quite long enough. That'll buy them the control they were after on this mech side. With the res still to play with, there you go. Defo's going to be brought back into the round, and now Mech look to blitz on through. The kill already going their way to open this up. They're waiting for Brave to be pushed out by the nade. Nobody can come and help them through the TP. That's just a beautiful execute by Mech. Every fight a 1vx, and now Magnum's got to clutch it all by himself.
Yeah, no real chance from there. And yeah, as you said, just seemed to have everything under control for the majority of that round. Finally, we see that res actually get used, but now, like...
Might have been Brim, where like literally just interacting with his smoke 3 minutes ago meant that it was an assist. It's like...
I hope it's not that.
I blocked his vision last round.
Let's look at his cast at the end of the game.
Oh god, don't start. Let's do a deep dive into the cast of this guy. Most valuable statistic out there, of course. It's not a hint of sarcasm can be detected here. 10-6, 4 rounds between them. FNATIC on the defense, pulling out their judge play yet again. This time, you know, I actually like where they've put it, considering how many rounds Mech have been playing for this control over Lambs. Tom, you said it yourself, that if Mech get control of Lambs, you're losing the round 9 times out of 10. And they've used their wall to exclusively walk into there a couple of times. So having a judge there right now, it's not terrible. It might end up getting some late round impact if he stays in position.
I will say I have seen very recently the Nats going in, killing the guy who had the judge, picking up their judge and using it to kill their teammates. So it's a double-edged sword. If you go down with that gun, he will use it to kill you. So
yeah, judge in the Viper's Pit gets... really
they also
scary.
just got Seekers because they're on the other side. They went and got the orb over on B long after the initial bout. So Bosa now has Seekers. There's a lot of ults currently online.
Yep, Boaster deep flash. They saw nobody outside B. Make the gamble play into the A side, and FNATIC, well, they've got the numbers here.
30 seconds left.
Let's see what they can do with them. They've already lost a few players, and the judge just spotted. Look how quickly. It's like one shot, and that's like, nope. Nope, I'm going back the other way. Popping the snake bites down, keep him at bay for now. There's just no need for Mech to feel the need to do anything. They can just sit in position and wait. Spike is down. The round should be theirs. Nicely done by SHEDULES.
Yeah, Mystic. Wow. He didn't even get a chance to breathe. It's a pixel for Chronicle, and An 11th round onto the board for Mech. Very well handled. As you mentioned, there were a lot of players waiting there. FNATIC have had a good read in quite a lot of these rounds, but Mech have just done an excellent job of isolating them. It seems like all of their players are currently firing on all cylinders. And as said, like, we watched that first map, they lose it in a close fashion. It doesn't mean jack going into the second one. Like, this is what we've learned about this team. We've even started to learn that they can now pull back from positions where they were looking like they'd lost, and which makes them, as said, one of the most terrifying, if not the most terrifying team in the world. So FNATIC have a lot to do on this side, and it's going to start off with some of those ults being spammed, I'm sure.
FNATIC have yet again used that wall to defend the A side. Viper's pit down inside of that. I mean, this is a really strong setup. I mean, they look like they wanted to just wall off and play in towards lamps, but they've halted that. It looks like FNATIC also kind of have a good read. They saw the wall go down, they saw it go up, and then...
Mitch, you've turned into KO, so I'm gonna have to cut you off. He's not even on this map this time. I don't know why you keep putting on the voice changer, but nonetheless, we are gonna have ourselves still this 5v5 scenario. We're almost seeing Redguard trying to fake things out in towards the A site as the rest of the team look to buddy up in onto B. Still going to be some counter utility. Defo hoping to try and find something here with the showstopper, but if anything, he's just forced them back, and that's fine. It may not be damage, but instead they managed to lock down half of this site. Counter ultimates being expended. It's an observer's nightmare of different pieces of utility being thrown out all at once, and the time still ticking as Boaster and Mystic combine within the smoke, and now it's left to Redguard. A 1 versus 4 scenario. FNATIC have used a lot to make sure that they guarantee this round for themselves, and there's even a flank coming through towards the end. No chance for Redguard to win this at this point. The Spike in a horrible position, and he's going to try and get some damage done. They have plenty when it comes to economy. A nice shot, at least, but it will be Boaster to close it. And yeah, considering that they lost the site to what was a showstopper and then a Viper's pit into it, FNATIC did very well to make sure that firstly they don't take too many casualties, but they also get back on the board. The one thing that does worry me a bit though is they had to use a hell of a lot of ultimates just to get anything done in that round.
Hey Tom, how's that? Is it better?
You don't sound like a robot, so it's much better.
All right. Okay, cool. Yeah, weird. I think it's a software thing. I think I just restart my app and it works. So I'll look into that a little bit more afterwards. But yeah, 11-7 as we move on up, move on out. We got to take a look at FNATIC. Sat down in the A site with 3 players. They better be ready because Meg are upping the pace. Already shifted in quickly towards the site. Seekers have been put out. They look to take a fight on top of the box. SHEDULES has landed it, and with Brave down, well. And the spike hasn't gone through just yet. There's Seekers coming from behind. Mech can easily take a rotate on this.
Yeah, you can see all the counter utility just being thrown out by FNATIC, because once Mech have got into these after plants, they just haven't stood a chance. They've used snake bites, they've used molotovs, paint shells, just everything they can to try and stop this plant going down. The difference though is there's still a minute left on the clock, and Durkey's had to go forward. He's trying to fight into these players, and SHEDULES is going to shut him out before he can get anything done. Nice shots from Magnum, but it might not be enough.
Boaster super late flank, but they're watching for it. Redguard has been clearing this the whole time, but Boaster hits the shot, clears his back. Now he'll look forward some information, but oh, it's costly. The shot's connected for Meg beautifully. 12-7 we go. They now have 5 chances to close it out on map number 2 and bring us to the decider of split. We go all that way. It'll be a 3rd map that, to be honest, Tom, we deserve a 3rd map in this series. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited to see split. Like, I really want it to happen, especially with the recent comp we saw come out of Mech. It's something that was just so enjoyable to watch. Like Defo switching things up onto a neon and making it work, but not necessarily in the manner we expected. Still though, can't count FNATIC out just yet, because there is Durka once again. An early start. It will be the res though, because SHEDULES has it like every 2 rounds or something at this point.
Yeah, I feel like it's an ability at this point more so than an ultimate. And dude has it but never uses it, or never needs to, I guess, a lot of the time.
His ult is the slow. He's using those a lot more rarely.
Well, Mech are going to be making their way into the A side, but not quite getting the jump on FNATIC that they were hoping for. Another kill to the defender's side, and at this point, still with a wall to play with. SHEDULES can maybe get the plant down. Where are we going with this one? All the way through. Okay, yeah, eventually it's time to run away. That drone spotting them out. Blank coming through from the B side already. Now, FNATIC got great control in this round.
Oh, Durka will go down. The thing is, they're whittling away at these remaining players just by all of that utility again being used for plant denial. Redgar, he's got a good timing. Oh, it's moments. He could have just waited a second, but he didn't know that there was a couple of players there, and eventually Mystic will be there to close things out. FNATIC survive, at least for now, and then a relatively clean one at that. They do well to fight in those early rounds. They stop the lurks coming through and basically just win a lot of those high-impact duels, because that was the thing in that round, Mitch. There were definitely moments like Nats facing off against Magnum, for example. If that goes the other way, maybe the round does too.
Sure, the round can flip like that, absolutely. And it becomes worrying now, right? You look at this, 12-8, 4 rounds between them. Mech have a bye, forced down to an eco if they lose this. FNATIC just about to have their ult economy come to fruition as well. I mean, we're really looking at 2 opportunities for Mech to maybe close this out. Now, look, the other rounds, what, they'll have pistols, so probably still perfectly viable in those as well. But the lead isn't as comfortable as it might look. In this round here, though, at least most of Mech won't be affected. Just a bulldog for SHEDULES to play the poster. Almost got the timing on them swinging out on mid, but instead we'll reset. Good information control as well, Mech, right? The players on mid, like you've got the boombot going down there, then you've got the player destroying the Trailblazer. Like this, even though FNATIC have pushed on B, they don't fully know that it's an A hit yet.
They've still rotated players in though. They've already got Brave here. They've done a lot of damage to SHEDULES. Of course, he's just going to heal himself back up, but he's the player who's got that wall, and where we've seen this so many times. This timing could be absolutely everything. Oh, it's not pretty, but then it's critical, who ramps back through as well. Now jumping into that TP, they have this site for free. FNATIC looked like they had such a solid read, but that split-second mid-round call from Redgar might have just ended the map.
God, just great space taking from him, sitting down outside. Like I said, keeping those players in position by just avoiding giving them the information that B is clear. It was such a small thing, but it led to FNATIC having 2 players on B long in the late round when the hit came in. So they try to rotate through quickly, running down B long, running down the fountain. And of course, Redgar is sat there. He's listening to that the whole time, making the call nice and easy. And at that point, it